Okay, let's go ahead and get started. Got a lot of ground to cover. All right, first things first, we have an invalidated trade on Trump versus Tether. Won't be taking this. We have an invalidated trade on the United States dollar versus Swedish krona. We have a take profit smashed on the United States dollar versus Canadian dollar. Have an invalid setup on SERB versus Tether. You have gray, aqua, blue. That's normally consolidation. And it's about to hit the original stop loss. So we won't be taking that. We have an invalidated trade on SOMI versus Tether. It hit stop loss. Obviously, the bias for cryptocurrency is sell right now. And we have an invalid trade on SKL versus Tether. We have gray, aqua, blue. That's consolidation. Price has been moving sideways since 1:30 in the morning. We have an invalidated trade on Render versus Tether. Same deal since 1:30. Price has been moving sideways and it hit the original stop 15 minutes ago. Have an invalidated trade on SPK versus Tether. It hit the stop loss. Invalidated trade on Layer versus Tether. Hit the stop loss. And we have an entry on Great British Pound versus Japanese Yen. We're going to take this on a buy, targeting 203.576. And we want price obviously to be below the candles here. What did I just do? Sorry about that. My computer restarted on me. Thankfully, I'm on a Chromebook, so I can hop right back into everything. All right, so we were on the way for a buy on Great British Pound versus Tether, I believe. No, Great British Pound versus Japanese yen. Let's get this out. And the risk is 3.45. We got entry at 202.702. We have stop at 202.449. And we have take profit at 203.576. All right, there's the first call of the day for Twitter. And for everyone else, the Great British Pound versus the Japanese Yen, 15-minute buy. The entry price is 202.702. The stop loss is 202.449 for 25 pips. The take profit is 203.576 for 87 pips, and a risk to reward ratio of 3.45. And we have a sale on United States dollar versus Hungarian forint. It's already more than 50% on the way to profit, so we won't be entering that. That's a nice entry. Have Great British Pound versus New Zealand dollar. It already is invalidated. It hit stop loss. We have CRV versus Tether on a 2-hour. We can take that setup. It's going to be a short from current price, targeting 3884. Risk is 3.31. We have entry at 49.39. We have stop loss at 52.58. And we have take profit at 3.884. Here's your next signal for Twitter. And for everyone else, you've got CRV versus Tether. It's a 120-minute sell. Entry price is at 0.4939. Stop loss is 0.5258 for 319 pips. Take profit is 0.3884 for 1,055 pips. And a risk to reward ratio of 3.31. Again, that's CRV versus Tether. And the United States dollar versus Norwegian krone hit stop loss, so the trade's not invalidated. We have Layer versus the United States versus Tether. I believe we may have already looked at this. It is invalid. Hit stop loss. We have Kava versus Tether, also invalid. Hit stop loss. We looked at Trump versus Tether already. WLFI, the original setup hit stop loss. We're still in the trade. Okay, we've got Bio versus Tether. It's around 25% on the way to take profit. We're not going to hop into that unless it gets up a little further. So I'll keep it in queue just in case, but it's not ready to hop in. We need it at the original entry price or higher. Would have been great had we caught it here, but we didn't. And we have the Australian dollar versus the Japanese yen. Hit stop loss, invalid. Got natural gas. That's already more than 50% of the way to take profit. We won't be entering that trade. We looked at the United States dollar versus Canadian dollar already. Have NG1, which is the futures on natural gas. Same pattern. It's almost 50% of the way to take profit. We won't be entering late. This is micro natural gas. Same pattern. Won't be entering that trade. And we have the same thing on OG, which is crude oil. Won't be entering that either. And we have a sell on Euro Huff. Problem is, it's not the right setup. We got blue, aqua, gray. That's resistance below current price. Yeah, that's not a setup we want. Somi versus Tether. Invalidated trade, hit stop loss. Don't know why I was calling all these buys when there's a sell bias, but that's fine. SPK versus Tether, same thing. It's a sell. We looked at the United States dollar versus that Hungarian florent, but this time we have an entry. Blue, gray, aqua, we're on a sell targeting 328.936. Let's get this right above the Asian range. And this is a 30-minute sell. 3.96 risk. Have entry at 331.991. We have stop at 332.762. And we have take profit at 328.936. And here's the call for Twitter. And here's the call for everyone else. We have the United States dollar versus the Hungarian forint, 30-minute sell. Entry price is 331.991. Stop loss is 332.762 for 77 pips. Take profit is 328.936 for 306 pips. And a risk reward ratio of 3.96. We have render versus tether that hit the original stop loss, so that's invalid. And we have Great British Pound versus New Zealand dollar, also invalid. Then go ahead and nuke bio because it looks like it's likely to continue falling. There's no point in entering this trade. So our next ticker is going to be at 9 a.m. That's the top of the hour. We also have a ticker at 8:55 a.m. for the futures market. We'll see what we end up. In the meantime, we're going to sit on Bitcoin, which at the moment is in free fall, and that is good for us. So there's Bitcoin on the 15-minute. Currently fighting a buy value gap. If it busts through this, it's falling all the way to 101,500, which is 2,400 points. That would leave Bitcoin negative 4,500 points for the day. And trigger try to meaty sell-off on the rest of the market. That is what we're waiting on now. Gonna sit back and wait patiently so that we can start legally robbing banks this morning. If we do get this drop, I'm expecting we're going to get lots of action. And that does happen. And we'll stay on until 11 a.m. Central Standard Time. Looks like we're about to break this support momentarily. What I'm looking at here is the space between the 5 and the 13 EMA. The 5 exponential moving average is the yellow line. The 13 exponential moving average is the red line. The yellow is the power of the buyers. The red is the power of the sellers. So right now, we have red on top of yellow. The sellers are in control of the market on Bitcoin on the 15-minute. And the bigger the amount of space between these two lines, the stronger that move is. As you can see, it's getting wider and wider over time. It looks like market-wide, there was a move to consolidation around 1:30 this morning. And then around 5:45 this morning, or 6 a.m. actually, the market started to turn. Right on time for us to benefit from it. Gonna go turn off this AC so I'm not sitting in here freezing to death. Be right back. Go. About 5 minutes to the top of the hour. Not sure why that's flashing again. I think we looked at SERP versus Tether already. Okay, it finally hit stop loss, which is fine. Verifies the sell-off bias we already know about. Does appear to be a little bit of a fight between bulls and bears over this buy order block. But there's just a strong of a sell one right here. So it may take a while for it to break one way or the other. I do expect it to sell off though.
Mhm.
All right, looks like we have another fill on United States dollar versus Hungarian florin, this time on the 1 hour. But the trade won't fill until 10 a.m. We're already in a sale, I believe, on the 15-minute? No, 30-minute. So we'll have another trade on Hungarian florin on the 1 hour in 1 hour. All right, so it came up and tested this buy order block, could not break it, so now it's selling back off again. Hopefully there's enough momentum to break through this bottom, in which case it's going to keep going. We are past the top of the hour. No new signal calls except for the hour sell on United States dollar versus Hungarian florin. We're now a full 30 minutes past the opening bell of the New York Stock Exchange. The London Stock Exchange does close at 10 a.m. Central Standard Time sharp. I believe we have the euro, the Canadian dollar, and the US dollar on bank holiday today. The US dollar is on bank holiday for Veterans Day. I don't know what the holidays are in Canada or the United Kingdom. Suffice it to say, you want to be careful getting into any commodities that involve the US dollar. So, at least for today, avoid getting yourself into trades on gold, silver, platinum, palladium, copper, aluminum, any of those. You also probably want to avoid US crude oil and natural gas, at least for today. Your Forex pairs are far less volatile, so it'll be fine to enter those. Just want to make sure you have a strong sense of what the direction is, because once the US dollar starts flowing back into the market, it's going to cause a lot of volatility in one direction or the other. You guess wrong, going to wake up and your account's going to be gone. And that would suck. So we do appear to be selling off with increasing veracity this time around. We'll see whether or not we can break this order block. It just rejected off the 50% right here. Got to keep going. Wow. Mhm. I was reading an article about this earlier this morning. Apparently, the NASDAQ is getting smashed because SoftBank, for some reason, and maybe they know something we don't know yet, they sold $5.8 billion worth of NVIDIA stock this morning. All right, we've got a buy oil order on ZM1. That's the futures on soybeans. Let's take a look. And it is a valid buy entry on a 15-minute. So that'll mark itself off at 9:25 a.m. What we're looking for is a retracement of price in this current candle, down back in the price action for a better entry, for a buy. We don't want it to keep taking off. Sometimes that happens. That means it's already into profit by the time the trade gets called. And we don't want to do that because we want a healthy risk to reward. We want price to fall back to us. We'll park here for the moment since this is going to be the next call that we take. About 13 and a half minutes from now.
Saving a quarter a day is $10,000.
All right, we've got a buy called on Canadian dollar versus Japanese yen. Same thing. We want price to come back into price action for a buy. That is exactly what we're going to see. So this is going to mark itself off at 9:30. We'll have the call on soybeans at 9:25. We'll have the call on United States dollar versus Hungarian florin at 10 a.m. So this isn't looking good for a clean setup because price is continuing to take off. Again, we really want price to come back down into price action for a cleaner entry on a buy. But you'll see that for yourselves in about 7 minutes. All right, a little less than 10 minutes to go before we get the markup here. We'll see what we end up with. All right, here we go. It didn't do us too bad. We've got an entry to 322.8. And it's a ZM1 on soybeans. Risk is 5. We've got entry at 318.3. We've got stop at 317.4. And we've got take profit at 322.8. Here's your call for Twitter. Here's your call for everyone else. We got ZM1 soybeans, 15-minute buy. The entry price is 318.30. The stop loss is 317.40 for 9 pips. The take profit is 322.80 for 45 pips. and a risk reward ratio of 5. All right, next up, in less than 5 minutes, we've got a call on Canadian dollar versus Japanese yen. It's doing exactly what we wanted it to do. Called the signal here. Price is pulling back into price action. It's going to give us a better entry. One minute left to go. All right, just like that, we got action, boss. And it's a nice meaty entry. Okay, this is going to be a long, targeting 110.626. I'm going to move this below the candles here. Here we go. One. And this is Canadian dollar versus Japanese yen. And it's a 3.62 risk. Got an entry price at 109.892. You've got the stop at 109.689. And we've got take profit at 110.626. Here's your next call for Twitter and for everyone else. We've got the Canadian dollar versus the Japanese yen on a 15-minute buy. The entry price is 109.892. The stop loss is 109.689 for 20 pips. And the take profit is 110.626 for 73 pips with a risk to reward ratio of 3.62. Again, that's the Canadian dollar versus the Japanese yen. As for Bitcoin, it did finally break below that price that we were looking at. So we're on the bottom of a sell order block and price is continuing to decline. We're straight on a fall to about 101,600. Another 1,900 points. So on the way to that point, we should start seeing some take profits being hit. Again, we have 115 orders that are open right now across cryptocurrency. Been slowly accumulating these over time. And it's about to kick butt and take names. All right, we got about 3.5 minutes left to the quarter of the hour, 9:45 a.m. We'll see if we get some more entries into the market. It's been relatively quiet today. We do have 3 calls so far, or 4 actually. I'll take the back 5. We started with a buy on Great British Pound versus Japanese Yen. We went to a sell on CRV versus Tether. We have a sell on United States dollar versus Hungarian forint. We have a buy on soybeans. And we have a buy on Canadian dollar versus Japanese yen. Let's see, I'm going to have to ban someone else on Kick for spamming in my chat. At any rate, we got about 2 minutes left to go to the quarter of the hour. Hopefully, we get some new opportunities to enter the month here. Market, rather. All right, 9:45 it is. No immediate signals, but we do have a continuation of the downtrend on Bitcoin, marching its way down towards this very next, very weak support, by the way, at 1,600 and change. Right, we got about 3 minutes to go to the last ticker before the top of the hour for the futures market. Again, I don't expect much action out of that today. I'm shocked we got the one on soybeans, to be honest. And then we have the top of the hour at 10 a.m. That's the closing bell of the London Stock Exchange in about 7.5 minutes. I expect that to cause the crypto market to accelerate on the sell side because there'll no longer be London money competing with US money. Generally speaking, the price action of the European markets runs perpendicular to the money from the United States markets. So when one or the other is open and the other one isn't, you have smoother price action. It's just a little slower because there's less liquidity involved. Oh boy. So about 6 minutes before we get the next call, there's going to be a sell on your US dollar versus Hungarian forint. And it did the same pattern. It withdrew in price. It's going to give us a 1 hour sell opportunity. Do expect the take profit to be deeper than the 328.936. So we'll catch both the 30-minute setup and the hour setup on the way down. Hmm. 3 minutes left to go. And we got take profit smash on a buy on natural gas. That is a very fast move. And there goes our setup. Told you it would be quite large. We're going to be selling to 327.889 from current price. We also appear to have a buy on Great British Pound versus New Zealand dollar. Let's go ahead and again, we want this right above price here. All right, it's going to be a 2.77 risk. Entry is going to be 332.367. Your stop's going to be 333.984. And your take profit is going to be 327.889. And here's your next signal for Twitter. And for everyone else, you're going to have the United States dollar versus the Hungarian forint. This is a 60-minute confirmation. It's a sell. Entry price is 332.367. Stop loss is 333.984 for 162 pips. Take profit is 327.889 for 448 pips. The risk to reward ratio is 2.77. All right. And we have a 30-minute sell. No, a long on Great British Pound versus New Zealand dollar. It's a 30 minutes, so it won't mark itself out until 10:30. Suppose we'll stick around till 11 a.m. just so we can catch this one. And I'm highly considering just extending my time from New York until 11 a.m. anyway. Really doesn't make much sense to stop at 10 when there's generally a couple of opportunities after the London market closes. At any rate, we've got another 11 minutes to go before the quarter of the hour. It's 10:03. Should be no new signals for the 10 o'clock hour. So next entries are at 10:10 a.m. for the futures market, 10:15 a.m. for the rest of the market. We got a few others. We got a take profit smash on OG1, on NG1, and on MNG1. All of this on natural gas. We didn't take any of those trades. Meanwhile, we're waiting on a mark off on a SPY on Great British Pound versus New Zealand dollar. Again, we have an uptrend. We have the trade being called. We have price reversing back into price action, which is ideally what we want to see for a buy for a better risk to reward ratio. That'll mark itself off in about 18 minutes at 10:30 a.m. Central Standard Time. Lots of resistance for Bitcoin going back up in price as we continue to sell off for the day. Most of the market is negative. Few exceptions to the rule. Let's take a look at how money's moving. And we've got a massive dump of money coming out of Bitcoin, down 1.5% market cap for the day, followed by Ethereum. For the month, you've got money flowing into several different coins. For the week, you can see right here, money's flowing into a crap ton of altcoins. For the day, there's only a few. Looks like people got their pump and then started taking money out. Smart way to play. Follow the money, get your money, continue to trade. Hmm. Let me check news elsewhere. There was another $340 billion wiped in liquidity for Bitcoin traders who decided to go long. Really important to understand direction. That was overnight. Okay. All right, so nothing new for 10:15. Next signals pop off in about 12 and a half minutes. So it looks like we've entered the second retracement of an Elliott wave. If you can see it. Hold on, let me, you got this to the left so you guys can see it. Got price way up here. Price goes up. Price goes down. Here's your second one. Price is starting to come up again. Got something on German 30s. We're going to go take a look at that real quick. Okay, nothing to report. Still got another 10 minutes left before the 30-minute call on Great British Pound versus New Zealand dollar. Again, this is just what we want to see. We have an uptrend, aqua gray blue. We have a long signal call. We have price reverting back into price action to give us a better entry. And we take that for the long shot in the 30-minute. So that's NQ for 10:30, about 10 minutes from now. Meantime, it looks like we're sitting right on top of a buy order block on the 30-minute. The 50% is at 103,000, and that's why price is kind of floating right now. If it breaks through that, we're going to have more of a fall. Specifically, what I'm looking at, because I'm really looking at this on the 15-minute, is this next order block right here at 100,500. There's really nothing keeping this from going in free fall after it finishes this little pullback to dumping all the way down here. Likely that move is going to happen after the lunch hour for the New York Stock Exchange, which is at 1 p.m. Central Standard Time, and continue until the daily reset on crypto at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. So about 6 successive hours of sell-off is probably what we're looking towards. This is a very weak support level. If it breaks through that, it will fall down to this next one at 100,500. And that's when I think is the furthest it may go for today. If the momentum is far enough, it is going to break down and test that 98,000 range that we had before. I believe Bitcoin got down to 98.5 a couple of days ago. By the way, we are looking at an artificial top for the day range at 107,500. There was an artificial bottom at 105,500, but we're below that now. So that's now the new artificial top. Whenever you see these nice round numbers like this, those are institutional moves. It is mathematically impossible for retail traders to make price action crest at an even number like that. So it's computers making these moves. Computers have rules. If you kind of know what their patterns are, you can benefit from them. The point is really looking for what you need to look for first. So I do expect the bottom to fall out of 103,170 and continue on until it sets a real set bottom. It'll be a nice even number once the computers are done with their liquidity pool. So what's going on right now is prices dumping off because you have market-wide cash outflows from Bitcoin. You don't have sufficient cash inflows that are faster than what they had when these ETFs were first approved by the Securities and Exchange Commission, which is causing a continued sell-off across the market. You still have retail traders that are en masse being stupid enough to go long on Bitcoin. So prices going up and snatching their liquidity and taking them down for a ride down by the lake. Pretty much. I had $360 billion of liquidations in Bitcoin just last night alone because people keep trying to go long. It ain't going long. It's selling off. And it's going to continue to sell off until we get fresh liquidity into the market. And that's unlikely unless Congress passes that third bill for cryptocurrency. That's unlikely because they haven't even opened the federal government yet. And when they do, they're going to spend all their time between now and the holidays arguing about health care subsidies. So just for the timing, best case scenario, the House of Representatives takes up the bill passed by the Senate and passes that bill. Once those bills are passed, they still have to go to a reconciliation bill to work out any differences between the bill. Then that reconciliation bill goes to President Trump for signature and becomes law. That immediately reopens the U.S. federal government and starts the clock for debate on healthcare subsidies, because that's the promise the Republicans gave the Democrats. Well, unfortunately, it's now November the 11th. After next week on Friday, Congress is going to be gone for the entire week of Thanksgiving. They're going to come back for a week and a half, and then they're going to disappear to January the 8th of next year for 3.5 weeks for their Christmas break, which means there really is no time for them to negotiate the bill on cryptocurrency, which was expected this month, actually. That's already been priced into cryptocurrency, the passage of the Genius Act. So if it's not passed this year, guess what happens to the price? It tanks. So you're looking at sub 100,000 prices on Bitcoin going into 2026. The question is, how far is it going to fall? Or if we're going to get a recovery of liquidity flowing into these ETFs. That's wholly possible if the government reopens itself. Money's going to flow from precious metals, where it's been parking, driving precious metals to all-time highs, and equities back into cryptocurrency. I just don't think there's enough time left to kind of change the momentum of the market. Not yet. Which means your traditional October every 4 years that we're used to seeing, where October is the month where everything starts flying up, that did not happen. November is normally a month where we have a reversal to set up for new all-time highs going in Q1 after the 4-year halvening. That has not happened either. It's been relatively flat either way. And I think we have to have a tacit recognition of the change in what's going on. We have institutional money at very large levels in the market now through ETFs. We have DATs that have large sums of money. We have a large swathe of active whales across the market that are moving like chess players to get their money out of the market and in the market, slowly taking profit along the way, using all kinds of things, including dollar cost averaging. So it really pays to be patient, to understand where direction is, and to get in the market only if you know where the market is headed. Direction is not difficult to determine. You want to look for an uptrend or a downtrend on a longer time frame because you want to get into trades and wait. Your entry points are going to be on the lower time frames, but your longer time frames are going to determine what you're doing. Case in point, Bitcoin versus Tether. We go up to the daily. You see an ever increasing smaller amount of space between the 50 and the 200 EMA. If these cross, you're heading towards a sell-off. And you already have price below the 200 EMA on the daily. This is going to dump off. Now you start thinking about where it could go. Well, if you look at your order blocks, you have that support right down here at 98,000. If this fails, and there's two of them, price is dropping to 88.6. If that fails, the only thing keeping Bitcoin from going into complete free fall is the 800 EMA at 81,504. You take a deeper look and you go to the weekly. You got free fall from current price under the 50 EMA at 99, at 101,000 and change, all the way down to 77,400. That's worst case scenario. So even when you look at it on the 15-minute, you've got free fall right now to this very weak support at 101,006. You got another one at 100,500. And if it breaks through these two, which is wholly possible over the next few days, you're going to fall to a new low, just under 95,000. And that's going to cause people to panic. which causes more net outflows from Bitcoin, which causes more net outflows for the crypto market, and cash outflows accelerate a sell-off. I think that's the play at this point. Go long at your own peril. You're going to wake up liquidated, and you're going to be upset at yourself. Wait for price to retrace up into resistance and then sell, provided the confirmations exist. Very much so, Cash. And I don't think most people realize just how new it is, particularly in Western economies. So we work with a fractional banking system in most Western economies. So the way it works, say you have $10,000 and you deposited $10,000 in the bank account. They immediately turn that money into loans. And under most fractional reserve systems, they can do 10x the leverage on the money that you deposit. So they can turn your $10,000 in cash or cash equivalents into $100,000 of loans, pay back with interest. If their original loan borrowers fail, they can call in those loans on default, still end up collecting on that, but then reborrow that same money to someone else at interest. Well, now with the two pieces of crypto legislation in the United States that were already passed, one, it allows banks to securitize debt or to tokenize debt. And two, it allows them to allow retail traders or retail customers to deposit cryptocurrency alongside their regular currency. Well, essentially what that does is it turns the ability of the bank to re-securitize the securitization. So you deposit $10,000 into a bank account, they can turn that $10,000 into 10,000 conventional loans. But now they can securitize those 10 loans at $10,000 into more debt. So $10,000 of cash can now be turned into $1 million worth of assets. Now push that out into a future scenario where you have the US federal government that is able to allow cryptocurrencies or cryptocurrency protocols or stable coins to purchase US sovereign debt. It's already happening because Tether is now the fourth largest holder of US debt. Well, if you have exponential growth in cryptocurrency and they're the holders of your debt, what happens? You have a scenario where it's possible that cryptocurrency can be used because price can be driven up or down through institutional actors to wipe out the US federal debt. And who has more money than everyone else and the ability to print more? That would be the United States. So imagine a world where the United States is still the economic superpower of the world, but we have no national debt. Yikes. And I'm telling you, it's coming. Now, it's going to come with some caveats, and that is the ability of central banks and other banking systems to basically be able to pre-tax every cent of money that you have. It's going to be impossible to hide money within the next 10 years anywhere. They're going to know where all your money is at all times, which theoretically means they can tax it by just pulling the money straight from your account, or they can do what China's already been doing for the past 20 years, and they can restrict you from using your money in certain ways. Imagine a future where, say, you are charged and convicted of a crime, and instead of wearing a ankle monitor to restrict your movements, in addition to that, they can restrict your ability to make purchases with your money outside of that square mile radius of where you can move with the ankle bracelet. So you might have plenty of money, but you can't go anywhere and spend any of your money outside of where you're supposed to be. Or taken further, it could be used as a social credit system. You decide you want to get out of line with the political or social or moral leanings of a certain regime. And guess what? You can't spend money for a certain period of time. Thankfully, we still have some cryptocurrencies that are completely private, unhackable, but there aren't many of those left. All right, off my bully pulpit for a while. Let's go back and take a look at where we are. It is 10:37 a.m. So no new signals coming for 10:30. Got about 8 minutes for the next ticker. That's at 10:45 a.m. Central Standard Time. We get nothing there. We have two more sets. We've got 10:55 a.m. for the futures market and 11 a.m. Central Standard Time. And that's when we'll call it the day for the day. I was hoping we'd get more play on Bitcoin, but it seems to be a little stubborn. Probably not going to move the way I'm expecting until after the lunch hour. Straight consolidation for the last hour just came to a screeching halt. But look at that space between the 5 and the 13. It's getting bigger and bigger and bigger. That means there's more momentum to the sell-off side. The 13 EMA, the red, is the power of the buyers in the market. The yellow, the 5 EMA, is the power of the sellers. Over time, these sellers are acquiring more power over Bitcoin, even on the 15-minute. We know it's that way in every higher time frame. And we're close to a confirmed downtrend on the 15-minute. As soon as the 200 and the 50 cross over the 800 EMA. And even the built-in technicals from TradingView bear that out. Bitcoin is considered a strong sell right now. All right, about 4 minutes left to go. So 10:45. Hmm. A little second here. I'll be right back. It's now 10:45. Got about another 2.5 minutes before we see any other action in the market. If we get any, doesn't look like it's likely. Still in consolidation. It's probably going to break out of that consolidation at 11 a.m. Which means we have two last tickers. One at 10:55 a.m. Central Standard Time. That's for the futures market. And the last being at 11 a.m. That's the top of the hour. Now, I think it was, hold on, I'm missing a future. ZM1. Okay. So we're in profit on our 2 trades for Japanese yen. That's great. Mhm. All right, so Bitcoin is down. Bitcoin dominance is down. Ethereum versus Bitcoin is up. So we should start to see upside to all altcoins over the afternoon. I can dig it. So I haven't eaten breakfast today, so I'm going to get myself a nice little brunch going. So Tuesday. About 8 minutes left to go to the top of the hour. Damn it. All right, let's do a little bit of housekeeping real quick since we're running up on the time for the day. You can find me on the Pit Messiah on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, Twitch, and Kick. In terms of when I do go live, we're live every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday from 2 a.m. to 4 a.m. Central Standard Time for New York, and now from 8:30 a.m. until 11 a.m. Central Standard Time. Actually, I flubbed that, didn't I? 2 a.m. to 4 a.m. for London, and then 8:30 a.m. till 11 a.m. for New York. If you are interested in joining our private trading community, Project Genesis, I'm going to drop the link to that. It's free of charge. You can do so on Telegram. And we got about 3 minutes left to go to the top of the hour. We'll see what other opportunities we get. Aha! We do 30-minute on Great British Pound versus New Zealand dollars. Go ahead and get this called out. It's a long from current price, targeting 2.34497. $30-minute buy. Your risk is going to be 5.83. Your entry price is going to be 2.3284. Your stop is going to be 2.32556. And your take profit is going to be 234497. And here's your next signal for Twitter. And for everyone else, we've got the Great British Pound Sterling versus the New Zealand dollar. 30-minute buy. The entry is 2.32840. The stop loss is 2.32556 for 28 pips. And take profit is 2.34497 for 166 pips with a risk to reward ratio of 5.83. Again, that's a buy on the Great British Pound Sterling versus the New Zealand dollar on a 30-minute confirmation. In the meantime, we got about 20 seconds left to go to the top of the hour. We'll see if we get anything extra so you know what to look out for. All right, nothing immediate. So I'll see you guys bright and early for 2 a.m. Central Standard Time tomorrow for London. Have a great afternoon and cheers.